Hello, everyone out there in Facebook land. I am Eric Tate alongside my good buddy Nick Locapo, and we are here counting down the top 20 tricks of the week. It's the top 20 countdown live here on Facebook with Penguin Magic. We're so glad to have you guys here with us this week. It's amazing, Nick. We're back.
We're still doing this.
We're still doing it.
I looked it up today. It's like episode 8 or something like that, or 7, or
That's nuts.
maybe 6.
How can this be episode? This is episode 11,000.
I don't know. I do feel like we are trapped in this room sometimes, but
I don't think we've left this room ever.
Time does not exist outside of this room.
No.
You get trapped in here pretty easily.
This is where we live now. I see a lot of the regulars here in the chat. We see Mark DiTullio. How's it going, Mark? We also got Zakar
Greisman there, Dave.
Dave Greisman in here. Don Throne. We
Chris Williams. We see you.
Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Nick, it's a good week in Magic, don't you think?
What did I miss?
We got we had some interesting releases come out this week.
Yeah.
We have a special guest who's going to be on the show. If all goes as well as we have planned, then we should have a very special guest from Argentina is going to be on the show.
Yeah, it's the one time zone that's similar to ours. You know, you don't really think about it, but it's tough to get anybody, like when we filmed with Juan Tamariz, because
we did do that early.
Juan Tamariz was on this show at one point.
Yep.
It's a little hard because time is just different, but in South America we're on very similar time, which is cool.
Yep. So we are hoping to have a live virtual performance for everybody watching this evening.
Yeah.
Especially this is going to be interesting because this is a trick that's hopefully he's performing a trick that's come into the top 20 a couple of times, and people are always going like, oh, can you perform it for real? Well, hopefully tonight you're actually going to see it perform for real.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen it in its entirety yet. There's a lot of great tricks in the top 20.
Yeah.
If you're a regular, like a lot of people are in the chat at the moment, we will be going through some changes on this show coming up. So, you know, the trend that we were heading in moneyballing the top 20 is just kind of falling apart.
Yeah, because we're working on some stuff behind the scenes for you guys to make this show better, and also so that we can do things like bring you guys discount codes, giveaways, send you guys home with some really great magic after you watch this show.
Yeah, really, this show will become a way to save money when purchasing Magic. It's going to be a great vessel for that.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
But I did put together a list of some stuff that's in the top 20, some new stuff that we haven't quite talked about much yet, and
because
there's a lot of good things.
One thing that's really important for you guys to know about here is division of labor. So I actually set up the entire streaming environment, so like keeping this thing running and sounding good is what I do. Nick makes all of these amazing graphics, like down here, this thing right here, the TVs behind us. Nick makes all of those graphics. And Nick Popa, why don't you bring yourself up? Nick can.
We never remember Popa.
Nick's job is to press the buttons.
Yep. I press all the buttons down here, and
Press
I make
that
sure all
brightness
the
button.
Turn your lights off there, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Turn that. We tried to EQ those lights. Oh, look at that.
There we
Oh,
go.
Look out. Look, yeah.
There we go.
So it's all three of us put this together, and so we're working on something new here. But you want to get into the top 20 this week, Nick?
Yeah, should we start?
Let's start off.
All right, well, let's start off. Number 20 this week, this is a new book by Perseus Arkomanis. It's called MOSAIC. Now, we had Perseus out here, it feels like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But it was probably only like 2 years ago.
Perseus was actually the very first lecture that I filmed when I came on board.
And when was that?
March of last year.
March 1984?
Yeah, March of 1984.
Yeah.
So it was March of last year. I think it was last year that I joined the team, and Perseus was here. He was the very first week because I remember going out to lunch with him and Sean and writing the ad copy up for what he was going to be doing in the lecture that night. And he showed us some stuff at this weird little dive bar down the street from here, and it just wrecked me because I knew Perseus was good, and then when he came in to do the lecture the next day, he teased what we're talking about right now with us, which is his book.
Well, so we will be talking about his act after this.
Yes.
But when he was here, he gave me a copy, like a draft copy of his book. Now, this copy that I'm going to bring out here, this is not the actual product.
No, this is a very rare draft copy.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's still a nice draft copy, but you're going to get a much more polished book, is what I'm going to what I mean. So, MOSAIC, what this is, you can come back to me, Popa, here for a second. What this book really is there's I think 30 pieces of magic in here. Yeah. About 30, 35 pieces. It's like 500 pages.
Yeah.
It's illustrated by Perseus himself.
He's an amazing artist, which is something I think that people don't understand.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of tricks in here that have seen the light of day before. If you're familiar with Perseus Arkomanis' work, I know that Week, I think, is a
Week is in there. I guess we can go to the overhead, Pope.
Yeah, Week is in here, which was a trick that he released a while ago. I believe the Pegasus. There's a coin trick in here that he has released before this, and there's a couple of tricks that are from his live act.
Come on in close here, Popa, so we can get a little close up of the table of contents for everybody. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so again, we're going to talk about the act after this, because some of the stuff that's in his Penguin Live act is directly from this book.
Yeah.
But there's so many great pieces of magic in here.
It's really nice, and I will say that one of the really great things that Perseus has done is he's separated them out into sort of the different areas that they live, the different kinds of things. He's really done a great job about that. But Perseus has been a restaurant worker for years, working very high-end restaurants, and these are direct from his working repertoire.
Right. Everything in here he drew himself, so he's written it and illustrated it. But really what you're going to get out of this is the trick that you do, Eric, Prometheus.
Yeah.
Really what you're going to get out of this is he is heavy, heavy, heavy on the scripting.
Yes.
He is, and not only is he heavy on the scripting, I mean, as you should be.
Yep.
But he's the type of guy that also has got the chops and the interesting tricks to back it up. I feel like a lot of times when I read books about magic theory and scripting, it's about that specifically. But this book has both. It's kind of like Ken Griffey Jr. over here. It does it all.
Yeah. You know, I'll say there's a book that came out, I think it was 2 years ago, that this reminds me heavily of in the way that it's put together. And it was, did you ever read Jason Ledany's Game Changer?
I did not read it.
So I read Jason Ledany's Game Changer, and it reminds me a lot of that in the way that he's put it together, where there's all of the moves and everything that you need to know, and then there's like a very specific script that you need to understand to sort of get in Perseus's head as to why this works the way it does. And I know when Jason wrote his, and obviously very different. It's not like they wrote these together or anything like that, or I don't know if one was influenced by the other. But it definitely feels like that kind of thing where the script is totally separate, so you can read it in and of itself, and you don't have the trick getting in the way of the script and the script getting in the way of the trick.
They're
it's very clearly written separately.
Yeah, this is one of those like life's work books.
Oh yeah, this
is everything he knows in one book. I know he spent a lot of time on it. I've learned like a good handful of the tricks in this book.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because after seeing him perform at P3 here, I had heard his name before, but I didn't realize he was just such a powerhouse.
He's one of those guys from Europe that his name gets around.
Yeah.
And people are just like, you've got to see Perseus because he's out there working all the time.
Yeah. So everything in that book is something that you're going to get inspired on every trick, either by the script or the way he presents something or the moves. And I guess we can just roll right into number 19 here, Popa, because he did come here, and he did his Penguin Live act, which is like
number 19 this week.
Yeah, I put it at number 19 because you should get MOSAIC. It's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
But you should also just pick up the act.
The act is a really good supplement to the book, and the book is a really good supplement to the act because it's one thing to read Perseus's words and read his script. It's a whole other thing to have that book in your hands and see him perform and hear the intonation. And I'll tell you, here's the thing about Perseus's act. I redesigned my business card to start doing one of the tricks in this. And I tell you, it's a trick that's gotten me gigs, and it's really, really solid.
Now, his new book might have video footage. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because this is just the draft copy that he generously gave to me a couple of years ago. So there might even be some additional stuff that I think I read that Eric Mead wrote the foreword.
Yeah.
But there's no foreword in this book.
Yeah.
So, but thank you, Perseus. We have this out here. But we do have a clip
from
the show of one of the pieces in the book. It's called Couples couples. I chose it
Great trick.
particularly because it just kind of shows off the sleight of hand that, and like there's some stuff going on here that I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And you'll get to see how his approach to scripting, right? So why don't we take a look at couples?
So this piece of magic, yes, it is around relationships. So first things off, we're going to need a king and a queen. Now, how much time are you guys together?
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years? Yeah. Okay, nice. So imagine this is like a little chronicle of your relationship. Now, Pixie, now you as a woman, because they say ladies first, you're going to select a card. Now that card is going to represent the top goal that a relationship has. Happiness, right? So pick one that you like. Don't let me see it. But you can show the rest. All right? Has everyone seen it?
Yeah.
Right. So, you're around 2 years, you said? Do you remember how your relationship was the first 2 days?
Yeah, pretty awkward.
Why is she laughing?
It was a really good time for both of us.
It was?
Yeah.
Right. Now, at first, we all know I'm married, I know as well. You're trying to figure out the other guy. Trying to figure out what his flaws are. You find out a whole stack of them. Problems, flaws, yeah, that you have to get used to. That's where putting in the effort comes. I want with your hands to cover the problems as if you're putting in the effort. With just a little bit of effort.
Where did that come from?
Happiness comes. Now, thank you. A lot of times, happiness can turn its back on you.
Yeah.
It's lost within the problems. And there's friction. Or there could be distance. Then after the effort, it's where patience comes. You have to wait. Wait for happiness to rise at the top so you can grab it. Now, even if happiness gets lost within the problems, even if your lives get shuffled, and even if you distance yourselves a lot, like leaving all the problems in between, that's where compromise comes. A step back. And as a guy, you're going to take the step back. I want you to cut the deck on top of the box as if you're taking a step back in one of your confrontations. That's a huge step.
That was a big step.
Wow.
Good for him.
Good for him. You should note these things. You know? Now, because we left the queen on the bottom, if I complete the cut, they come back together. But just because you took the step back in between them, happiness reappears. Now, these are 2 years you guys been together, right? So that means that you have put in the effort, you have done your fair share of patience, and you have compromised a little bit. And if you do all three of those, that means that happiness right there always, always, always gives birth to love. And I hope you always be like that, guys.
Oh, it's back on me. So we're coming back on me. So that's a great example of exactly what we're trying to say is that not only is he technically, really, really skilled, but there's a story and meaning behind all of it. And you're going to find that with just about every routine, not only in the act, but in his book as well.
There's a couple of other routines that I wanted to highlight out of this. Is just as I'm looking down the notes right here, Eye of Horus is his handling of the all-seeing eye by Dan. Dan Harlan, and I know Dan was very impressed with what Perseus had done with this. Destinations, his Coins Across, is super good. I believe that's the one that involves a wedding ring. He really solved some interesting problems with Coins Across by involving his wedding ring. And Prometheus is his variation on Daniel Madison's Burn. That's the one that I redesigned my business card to take advantage of. And essentially what that is he's having people think of a card, and he waves his business card over a lighter, and when you turn it over, a burnt image of the card appears on the back of your business card in like a ghostly silhouette. But it's a really interesting variation of it that is just, it's really well thought out, and it's very powerful, and I've definitely gotten gigs from it. But this is, I'm not surprised that his act came up in the top 20 with this week with his book coming out. It's really good.
I would get both. You will, between the two, there's so much to learn.
Yeah.
You'll have plenty to do.
It's definitely something worth checking out. But let's keep it moving on. Let's move on to number 18. This is another book that we're very excited about. This is Worlds Beyond by Paul Curry. It is back in print. This book was out of print for quite some time. Fortunately, the wonderful folks over there at Hermetic Press have done another printing of this, and so it's back available. This is a place that you're going to find the original version of Out of This World, but you're also going to find a whole bunch of other Curry classics like Touch, The Sliding Knot, Open Prediction, The Color Changing Deck, Never in a Lifetime, The Power of Thought, Probability Zero, and IOU. It's a 400 pages, hardbound with a dust jacket, really, really well put together book that really covers the whole gamut of Paul Curry's work.
No, this is a great book. This is one of my favorite magic books. Again, two great books in a row, both of which are books that you will learn tricks from.
Yes.
That's not the case with every magic book.
No, this is something that you'll actually do material out of this book in your working repertoire if you don't already do tricks from this, because there's stuff in here that are modern classics. There's
stuff in here that you probably already do. Let's flip through it. Just go to the overhead here, so you guys can see the dust jacket. There's so much good stuff in here. I know you just burned through a lot of them, but just to highlight a couple. You're going to get all the different types of moves. The Curry turnover change is something worth looking at.
Yeah.
The color changing deck. Houdini's out of the past. I should have looked at this ahead of time just so I knew where everything was. Mm-hmm. Probability Zero is amazing. And then of course you've got Out of This World. And there's a couple in here that I've worked a lot on. Mm-hmm. Where are they? Touch. Yeah. We're going to talk about Touch in just a minute. Yep. But anyway, I guess we'll just go through the book a little bit here so you can see the illustrations.
Really nice illustrations. It's really well put together book. Just overall, the instructions are very clear. The illustrations are nice because they're just enough to get you there, but not so much that it's really complicated where you're going like frame by frame in a movie.
You know what's funny is Paul, a lot of people don't realize, had some incredible rope magic. He's got a gimmick in here that we were thinking about making at one point, and I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in the back, but he's got rope magic in the back. Some really wild stuff. Sliding knot's really great. Yeah. There's so much good magic in here. The swindle switch, the Out of This World. It's just loaded. That book just deserves to be on everybody's shelf. Basically.
Yeah. It really is. I've got a copy of it on my shelf. I know you've got it. This is actually your copy from your shelf.
Well, this is just one I found over there.
Oh, so, is it?
I have one, but mine's all torn up, and I saw this one over there the other day, so I'm like, well, I'll just use that.
Yeah, it's a lot prettier than us when we bring in our own books. Yeah, our own books are all tattered.
Mine don't have a dust jacket on it. Yeah, no. That's one of my most read books for sure. I've pulled so much out of that.
It's super good.
And for further proof on that, the next trick, moving on to number 17, is directly from the book. It's a trick called Touch. And what Touch is a prediction effect where you basically have a spectator think of any card. But before they do that, you write down a prediction on the Joker. So you write a prediction like you will choose the whatever. You lay that down on the table, and it never moves. It sits there the entire time. They then name a card or select one, and you show that what you wrote before is exactly the card that they named.
This is a really, really good trick that I think Nick deserves a lot of credit on, because the original version of Touch is performable and a fantastic trick in and of its own right. But Nick did the work on this to make it just smooth out a little bit of the rough bumps in it, and there's a couple of extra touches that Nick has applied to this particular trick that make it just that much more baffling to your spectator.
Yeah.
You do get a custom printed deck in order to perform the touch routine. It comes in really nice packaging that you're going to want to use to store it on your shelf when you're not using it. I mean, this is a really, really nice overall package trick. I mean, that you could definitely do this from Worlds Beyond, but this version is it's just that much nicer, and it comes with everything you need to get going with it.
I mean, this is how crazy my job is. They're like, hey Nick, here's this book that's awesome. You should take a trick out of there and we'll put it out. I'm like, what? Like 1937, touch ranks second in, this is a footnote, touch ranks second in popularity only to Out of This World among Paul Curry's many tricks. Aside from Out of This World, touch is certainly his most notable effect. So when I read that, I was like, well, what is this trick? It's like one of the only tricks in the book that used a gimmick deck.
Yeah.
And the original gimmick deck is something that you can get, but I think anybody, when you use that original deck, you immediately see the problems.
Yeah.
You're like, well, that's a great method, but that's the problem with this deck. So that's really all that happened here is like, well, let's just make the perfect deck for touch, and that's what you get. You get a deck. I also go through like extensive history of the effect on the instructional video, a lot more than I needed to.
Yeah, because you did quite a bit of research on this. Where you didn't just stop at what was in the book.
I built it for stand-up. I built it for blank cards. I built it for a whole lot of different stuff. I explored multiple predictions, stuff for over the phone. There's all sorts of stuff on there. It's a great effect, and it's easy to work on great tricks.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so it deserved it. So I blew it out.
It gets really solid reactions too. But let's move on to number 16. This is from our Belgian friend Nguyen. This is Mirror Mirror. This is a really interesting effect. It starts off as a do as I do, but ends with a revelation of a four of a kind. This is a really, really interesting trick because it's a little on the challenging side. There's the version that Think teaches does require a little bit of sleight of hand that is challenging, but definitely a joy to learn. However, the astute student could figure out how to do this exact same effect exactly the way Think is doing it without one of the more challenging pieces in this. It's a really, really fun effect. I know I started working on it shortly after it came out, and it kind of slid under the radar for a number of people, but it's back now, and it's also our featured download of the week on the Penguin Magic podcast. If you listen to the Penguin Magic podcast that came out this week, we actually had a really great interview with the founder of Magicians Without Borders, but you also know that Nick Locapo and I talked about this, and you can get 25% off this download until next Thursday. All you have to do upon your checkout is type in the discount code PenguinPod. That's PenguinPod, all one word, and you get 25% off of this trick. And you know what? I think, Nick, you and I already got a hold of this, and we went ahead and decided to drop the price to $5.
Wait, yeah, so we dropped it to $5,
and
they're still going to get 25%.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that's a steal.
No, well, for this trick it is. I
Yeah.
mean, look, really, when I watch this, it just reminds me how good coincidence style effects are. They take a card out, you take a card out, you do it again, you turn all four of them over, and they all match.
Yeah.
I've been doing stuff like this right out of Scarny on cards for a long time, and I know that this plot always hits hard.
Yeah.
So when I saw Think's version, I was like, man, that's a great version. That's a great version of this trick. I want to learn that. And Think's a great teacher, and you're going to learn a lot in this download, actually.
Yeah. There's a particular sleight in this that is going to be a lot of fun to learn. It's going to be challenging and frustrating, but worth it because once you get it down, it's great.
Yeah, but like you said, the astute student, I don't think it's going to take much for anybody to really just be like, well, why don't I just do this other thing that I know how to do instead, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably a way to approach it. But great download, great trick, mirror. I did, good Penguin download for.
Oh yeah.
What is it going to be, like $4?
Yeah, $4.
$4.
For $4, you want to learn a really great trick from a really great magician.
Go get that one.
Yeah.
No brainer.
The discount code is PenguinPod.
PenguinPod.
It's good on only Mirror, and it's only good until this coming Thursday at 5 p.m. when we're going to swap it out for a different featured download of the week.
And if you are going to use it, it will only work if you share this video right now as well, I think. I'm pretty sure they're connected somehow.
I think you have to like, and you also have to share it. Is that how it works?
I don't know. I think you would know more than I would at this point. But let's move on to number 15. This is with the band.
Oh.
The band. Only 2 people in this band by David Jonathan and Dan Harlan.
I think I saw David Jonathan in the chat there.
Oh, is he in there?
I think
Oh,
if
cool.
David Jonathan, if you're still watching,
I
be
think
sure
it's
to-
his birthday. to be honest.
Happy birthday.
Yeah. So this, I didn't get a great look at the video here, but basically you wrap the card. I'll just explain it. There's a video going on. I wanted to sync it up, but I already missed it.
I'm
Eric,
sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. No, we're good. Basically, you have a card selected and signed, which is kind of the crazy part about this trick, right? Card selected and signed. It goes back into the deck, and then you place the deck into the box, and then you wrap a rubber band around the box. And if you bring that clip up again, Popa, that would be cool. It's a quick clip. We'll get to the part here where the rubber band is around the box. Boom, and it disappears. And then you open the box, and the signed card is wrapped around the rubber band. Now, like, on the surface, when I first saw this thing, I was like, oh, like, looks like a cool trick. But I'm just not thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, hold up. The signed card is actually wrapped with the rubber band.
Yeah.
It's not like there's not a secret going on there. The rubber band is literally around the signed card.
It's
and that's
super good.
really, really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on with this. I know David Jonathan came up with the core trick. Dan Harlan refined the method by which the rubber band around the box is vanished.
Cool.
And it all works together to be something really, really fascinating. And the other thing is, this is one of those tricks that doesn't come along very often. It's a great segue trick. There's not a really good way to go from card magic to rubber band magic unless you're involving both, and this really ticks that box.
Yeah.
So if you've been doing a bunch of card tricks for someone, or you've been doing a bunch of rubber band magic for someone in one of your gigs, or where you're just hanging out with people showing some tricks, and you want to transition into a different type of magic, this is a great segue because it justifies having both props out, and then you can put one prop away or give everything away, or it's just a good way to close it all out. I mean, this is a really fantastic trick.
It's a great.
It's $10
download,
too.
$10. It kind of. This is like when you watch the video, it kind of feels like it's going to come with something in the mail.
Yeah.
No, you just need some rubber bands and a deck of cards kicking around. And
Yeah.
it feels like there's a gimmick here. It's not.
Yeah, I
which is
feel
awesome.
like what should happen actually is you should get like a really nice box,
Yeah.
and you're like expecting to open it up, but then you open it up and there's just a mirror inside looking back at you because you're all you need to perform this trick.
So are rubber bands the hottest thing of 2020 so far? I mean, I feel like we've been talking rubber band magic. I mean, there's a lot of rubber band magic in the top 20.
Yeah, there's been like 2 weeks in a row, lots of rubber band
There's been
magic.
a lot of stuff. So
I can confirm that rubber bands are the best magic of 2020.
I think that's the first time Popa has actually injected himself into the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a first. It was a first. We found the hill. We found it. We found
All
it.
right. Oh, let's move on here. So the next thing's in your hands.
Yeah, I do have it. Number 14.
Yeah.
It's the Jerry Nuggets.
Ooh.
Jerry's Nuggets. These were on, what was this? They were on like a Kickstarter, I'm assuming.
I know. I think this is something a little bit more. I think that what happened is the Jerry.
They were on pre-order for a while.
Yes.
And then they finally came out.
Yeah, and the Kickstarter thing may have been
For the Gilded?
Yeah, but we haven't gotten a hold of those yet.
I know we haven't.
Yeah.
You didn't even bring your Jerry's today.
No,
did you?
I didn't. I wanted you to open another new one.
Well, I didn't. Well, I figured I'd bring a week's worth of shuffling so you guys can see what that looks like. Anyway, the new Jerry's Nuggets we have that we got made are in the royal purple.
Yeah, it's a very handsome color.
Yeah, actually, I really like it. I do have a deck of blue Jerry's, and I kind of like this one better, to be honest. So let's.
Yeah, the purple's just it's got that blue look to it, but it's just a little bit nicer.
So they're like pretty much a straight up replica, by the way. I didn't really get to talk about these too much last week, but the North Las Vegas Nevada on the top. The bottom is obviously going to be different because it's going to say Penguin Magic and stuff on the bottom. But
the full art,
full art on both sides.
Yeah, which is nice.
It does have a seal on it, and then you got the borders. It's got thinner borders than I thought. I think they look totally fine.
Yeah. I think what's going on there is
just a hair thin.
No, I think that we always see Jerry's Nuggets sealed in a box because for the longest time you wanted to get the Jerry's, but it was always you always saw them in the box and you always put them on a shelf and you never played with them, and the box has got like a slightly bigger border.
It's like the border doesn't feel thin or anything to me. It's just maybe it's because it's just like a flat color.
Yeah.
That maybe it looks a little thinner around the edges. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. But yeah, you'll get the classic Jerry's look on the back.
And the classic Jerry's face too, because those court cards and the ace of spades are a little bit different.
Yeah, they're a little different. So like there's a king. You can see it's missing like a color, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the way to describe it.
Yeah.
And you got the jokers.
What's really nice about this though is that you get a double backer and you get a blank face.
Yeah.
And the jokers are identical too, which is really, really nice.
Yeah, the jokers do match, which is super sweet. So there's the ace of spades. And then, yeah, there's a double backer. No, let me, here. Move that down so you guys can see. Double backer, and there's a blank face card as well.
These are printed on the double crush stock. They're traditionally cut. So these are, I mean, this is a really nice deck of cards you're going to want to play with. I know one of the complaints when people find, people always hear, oh, the Jerry's Nuggets finish was what they really wanted. When they get their hands on the original finish, they're like, what is this?
Things have come along a little bit,
So, but these are Jerry's Nuggets with a modern feel.
Yeah, the whole Jerry's Nuggets story is like hilarious and how that even happened. But yeah, fun deck of cards. I've had a lot of fun shuffling them over the last week. They are finally available on Penguin. They weren't for a while. Like they were in the top 20 when they were in pre-order, right?
Yeah.
Everybody bought them, and now they're out. And nobody knows that they are. Yeah. Right. So.
It's a great deck of cards. It's really pretty. For when you pull out a set of Jerry's Nuggets, the people who are in the know are like, "Oh man, this guy knows what's up." But
I always wanted a deck, and now I don't really care if it's real or not, right? And they shuffle better anyway, most likely. So yeah.
Oh, let's move on. Number 13. This is BH Concepts. This is a download. You're going to learn everything you need to know about the bridal hitch. Getting back into more rubber band magic.
From
Joe Rindfleisch.
More rubber band magic.
The master.
So check this out, all right? Because this is a vanish of a rubber band on a $20 bill. Watch it go. Where does it go? I have no idea.
That's crazy.
That's an amazing trick. There's another trick coming up here where basically, this is just like a retention band. Tell me where this goes.
I have no idea. I have no idea where that rubber
band is. And then this one's interesting. There's one blue rubber band that's linked to the yellow one. Which one do you think it is? And so the spectator chooses a blue rubber band, and then he pulls the yellow rubber band off and to reveal that it is the one band that is indeed attached to the yellow rubber band.
It's really solid.
Yeah. That's a funny trick because Joe always says it's like mentalism with rubber bands, right? Because it's like you got to define which one has it. Yeah, I mean, we talk about Joe Rindfleisch every week.
Yeah, because at some point during the week, you know that a Joe Rindfleisch product is going to be in the top 20 because rubber bands are the hottest magic trick of 2020.
Yeah.
This is real.
What's the hashtag? We got to
hashtag
rubber magic.
Rubber 2020.
Rubber 2020.
Rubber 2020.
I don't know. But Joe's tricks have been like on a rotation.
Yeah.
Of like something in the top 20 all the time. Like last week it was Rubber Delusion. Like the week before that it was the Flying Bandinis. You know, like there's so much good stuff.
And I feel like this is like a lot of the other things that Joe Rindfleisch comes out with, where it's a core principle that you're learning, but then what he's done is expand that core principle to 20,000 different tricks. I mean, how many different things do you learn about the bridal hitch on this? It's just
I think so. What you're going to learn what the bridal hitch is, what it can do, and then you're going to learn the routines that he put together in this one download. Just like any other Joe Rindfleisch thing, it's very similar.
Yeah.
The other stuff that's on there is like kind of like switching stuff, where you'll have like a blue rubber band here and a yellow rubber band here, and then it'll just change places because he's Joe Rindfleisch and he can do
witchcraft
with rubber bands. But mostly you're going to see the stuff that we saw in the video here with the vanish. I love this.
That retention vanish with a rubber band is super solid.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
The nice thing is that when you buy downloads from Joe Rindfleisch, they all end up building on one another. And pretty soon, you're going to have this giant repertoire of rubber band magic. You won't even need a deck of cards. You'll just walk in with a wristful of rubber bands, and you'll be able to wreck people for hours.
Everything he does, just if you're like rubber bands, you already know. You just have to get it. It's a no-brainer. Number 12. It's one of my favorite tricks ever.
Oh, yeah.
C3 by R. Paul Wilson. So this is a coincidence style effect where the spectators shuffle the cards. They select any card they want, literally any card. They shuffle it back into the deck as fair as it can be. And from there, you go through a chaotic mixing procedure where people make choices, And at the very end, even though you've touched nobody's piles, the person that chose a card finds their card on the top, and then everybody else finds the matching 4 of a kind on top. This is one of those borrowed deck in shuffled use, anytime, anywhere, as long as there's a 4 of a kind in the deck, you have an absolute closer in the truest sense of a word on your hands. This trick kills. So hard, like Shinlim did it on America's Got Talent. I mean,
I was just going to mention
you love
that.
this trick, right? Or?
Yeah. I do the newer version of it that has come out, which is C3PO. That's his poker, the handling of the poker. I like that a little bit better.
It's just for one-on-one.
It's just for one-on-one because this is a trick where you can do it for 3 people. But what's really nice about it is that it's a card trick you can do for a group of people. Those do not come along every day. So I'm glad that I have this one in my back pocket because knowing what this is has allowed me to really play with a larger group of people in some interesting ways because this is a really interesting trick. And he walks through all the variations of it that you can do. I mean, you're going to learn so much from R. Paul Wilson in this effect. I can't speak highly enough of it.
This is probably the most powerful card trick I know how to do.
Yep.
I think. I would put that in a quote.
It's definitely one of those tricks where your audience doesn't see the kicker coming.
No.
They don't understand why other people are dealing piles until the very last moment. And then when all of those cards match, it's just, it's a real kick in the teeth.
Just the spectator finding their own card is such a good trick because as long as you're reminding them how impossible all the situations have been, it'd be a great trick if my card's on top of my pile. It'd be a miracle.
And there's like no sleight of hand.
No, there's none.
There's nothing to worry about with this. If you're a little afraid of sleight of hand, or you're wanting to build up your performance skills so that you can do some of the more difficult stuff in front of your audiences, this is a perfect confidence builder for someone who's just getting into Magic.
Yeah, be careful with this one. This is
we got
a big killer.
We got another one coming up. Speaking of big killers coming up, number 11 is Beyond Perfect ESP by my good friend John George. This is a really, really great effect with ESP cards where you give ESP cards to somebody else. They're mixing them up. They're making decisions. They start placing them face down in the order that they want, and you also...
But you put yours down first.
You put yours down first, which this is the thing that really messes people up, is because they're putting their cards down, you're putting your cards down, but your cards are going down first every time. And then when you display, the orders match perfectly all the way through.
Yeah.
There's a really clever secret inside this method that John George has done that disguises the thing that you need to do. Because on its face, as a magician, when you see this, you think you know what's going on until you start to understand exactly the way this is going, where you're putting down first every time, and you'll be lost.
Yeah.
You'll never be able to follow what John does.
The plot of the ESP test has been approached by a lot of people.
Yep.
This, to me, is the way to do it. You're going to get...
It's almost test conditions.
Yeah. You're going to get something special in the mail. Mm-hmm. It's a totally normal thing to be using. It's not like anything that you wouldn't want. I can't say what it is. Yeah. Be a little bit too specific. We're not talking about wax or or anything like that. Yeah. It's just a gimmick card that you're going to get in the mail, along with some ESP cards as well.
Yeah, that's the nice thing is that when you do this particular type of effect, when you bring out these cards, they're custom printed ESP cards. So it's not like you're pulling out a bunch of blank facers that you have culled from all of your other, mark decks and elite decks and whatever and tried to cobble something together. You're getting nice looking printed ESP cards, and that just makes the presentation of this effect much better.
The ESP test is strong. It's really strong. Really, really strong. And it's not refreshing isn't the word, but it's nice to see a guy like John perform it. Yeah. Because he's more of a barroom type performer, at least in the situation you're going to see him in. Right. Yeah. We're not doing like a sit down mental experiment. This is a heavy hitting.
When you think of John George,
it's a card trick, really.
When you think of John George, you think of that he won SAM, he won IBM, like a sort of like a more formal presentational performer, and he performs in some great resorts. And this is what he does when he's going to go perform in that bar room. It's really nice.
It's a strong trick. If you have any interest in that one, the one to get.
Yeah.
It really is.
Super good.
Let's move on to number 10. Man, there's a lot of great tricks in the top 20 this week. This is Letter Perfect by David Regal. He's a big fan of this show, Mr. David Regal. The Letter Perfect is it's an alphabet deck that you're going to get in the mail where somebody can take out certain cards from the center of the pack, and then again we're going to go through a crazy, chaotic mixing sequence where they can turn cards face up, face down, mix them up. And then at the very end, you take out the cards that are just left to be face down, you turn those cards over, and it will spell a word of your choice. In this case, you're going to spell out magic.
You can spell a word, you can spell the audience member's name. There's a whole bunch of different, you can literally spell anything you want with this. And there is a little bit of setup involved, but David takes you through all of that. The other nice thing is you're getting a custom printed alphabet deck on, I think it's the Bicycle Maiden back. Yeah, it's a Bicycle Maiden back deck that you get with really nice, clear, easy to read letters. So when you, again, this is the same situation as that ESP deck where it's like, yeah, you could get a blank deck or you could get flashcards and make these out yourself, but there's just something about getting like a nicely printed deck that makes the trick look a little bit better.
Well, because what you're really getting here, aside from the alphabet deck, is a really smart method to create a chaotic mixing sequence that allows you to control the outcome of what ends up in that spread. You could do this with a deck of cards. You could do it with like a royal flush or something like that.
That's actually something that that David points out in the actual tutorial itself, is he actually demonstrates the mixing procedure and how to make it come out with a royal flush. So you are going to learn a very powerful secret that you could apply to the rest of your card magic.
That's really what you're learning. But the thing is that when you do it with letters, it's just on another level power-wise. Right, which is why we wanted to include the alphabet deck. It's why David does the trick at all.
Yeah.
It was probably not a trick he would even perform. It's probably until he actually started using the letters was he like, oh man, this is a great trick that I've got in my hands here. So that, with all that, you're going to get an alphabet deck. You probably need a new one anyway, right?
Yeah.
And you're also going to get a sequence that just allows you to force an outcome. There's a lot of uses for something like that that go beyond just this download. So we're almost at the end of this one.
I think that's it. I think the one thing that we could do is show something that we were going to show way back at the beginning of the show when we were talking about Perseus Arkomanis. We used to do a show and tell on this, and I think it's now time, because we're halfway through. We should do a show and tell.
Yeah, we should do something. Yeah.
Let's do a show and tell. We have something here that Perseus brought.
Yeah, it's weird. He brought it here with the intention for us to deliver it
to another magician.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the other magician has not actually come through the P3 studios since Perseus was here.
He did show up here. He was right after Perseus.
Was he?
And we showed it to him, and he loved it. And he said, it's yours. And then, you know how things go in here. Just forgot to take it.
So the next time he comes back, he's going to have to take it.
Well, yeah, so we're going to have him come back.
Yeah. So I think we should show this to everyone. This was actually painted by Perseus. This is a portrait of Danny D'Artes, painted by Perseus Arkomanis.
There's just something hilarious about it. It's amazing, but you got to laugh because it's Danny. I don't know why.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous portrait.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do we get Danny this painting?
I think we have to have Danny come on the Penguin Top 20 countdown.
We have to hold his painting hostage.
Yes, until Danny appears on this show performing at this mat.
Right. So Danny, if you want your picture back, there's only one thing you have to do.
You have to come to our studio and perform here.
Here. Do we want him here? Maybe we just get him virtually.
Yeah, I think we could get...
Didn't he just put something out with all virtual tricks?
I think he did do that.
I mean, I think he did it with another company, but who cares?
I tell you what, we'll mail you your portrait if you do virtual tricks on our show.
Yes, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Somebody send this to Danny D'Artes.
Let's move on.
We miss you, Danny. Okay. Is it my turn?
I think it is your turn.
No, you're up. Let Lucid Coin. Oh, no, I'll do this one.
Yeah.
You probably, I don't know if you saw it.
No, I was trying to very artfully.
Right. Number nine, this one looks great. This is Lucid Coin by Mark Oberon. This is a extremely visual, we're going to have a clip of it here, visual production of a coin and a vanish of a coin. And I mean, this is what it does. It Shows up and disappears. Shows up and disappears. What the hell? Looks
This
amazing.
is madness.
Right?
I love that the entire clip is just the coin appearing and disappearing
Yeah,
over
there's
and
not
over
much
again.
else to it. I mean, but like,
It's enormous.
yeah, it's a nice, big, shiny coin.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's what you get,
Yeah.
right? The method is good. It's,
Yeah.
you know, it made me, when I first saw it, I was like, okay, I don't quite know how it works, but you have an idea based on old stuff. And
Yeah.
all I can think of is some of those old, like, old coins that would like wrap with metal around your thumb and stuff. This isn't any of that.
What?
I know.
I was certain that's what it was.
Well, you know, there's something going on, but because it's not real magic, unfortunately. But he discovered something.
Wait a minute. It's not real magic?
No,
You're kidding. that looked like real magic
it does
to me.
look like real magic.
You,
right?
I refuse to believe that that's not real
But
magic.
like, okay, I watched it today. I used to do Miser's Dream back in the day when I was working the theme park, and it was one of my favorite tricks to do. And if you do that effect, you know what I'm talking about. There's things that you'll discover along the way that you're like, man, I wish I could fix this moment. It would be so strong.
Yeah.
I watched that today. I'm like, man, that looks so good. The
Fix the
coin is big,
Yeah.
shiny, and the vanish in production is so clean that it would be worth working on that. And he does cover that on the tutorial.
Oh,
So
that's sick.
you learn Mark's Miser's Dream routine. I think that's pretty
Mark
much-
is super good.
Oh, his stuff's so good.
Yeah, I think the big takeaway here is that you're getting a really, really amazing coin vanish and a really amazing coin production from Mark Oberon.
Yeah, right.
I mean, this is easily something he could have sat on for his own shows, not share with anyone.
Well, it
and-
does feel like something that he may have, but the gimmick is like is clever enough that I could see stumbling on it and being like, "Oh man, this is cool."
Yeah.
Because it is cool. I have not handled it. I've only watched the explanation, and it wasn't what I thought it was. I want one. I'm probably going to get one. I do think, we've got shows coming up.
Yep.
I'm thinking Miser's Dream might be a nice socially distanced trick to be added to my stage set again. So I'm looking at Lucid Coin.
Oh man, I'm very upset because you and I are going to be at theaters back to back. If you're going to claim Miser's Dream, now I can't do it.
I'm doing every trick in Tarbell. So,
Let's move on. Number 8 this week. This is Virtual Visions by Max Maven. This is a fantastic series of effects that Max, one of the original masters of virtual magic, has put out. You are going to get a whole bunch of different effects here. And what this really is a series of effects that are all designed to be done in the virtual space through a Skype, Zoom, video chat, whatever you're using. You're getting full performances, full explanations, and this is a package deal. Now you can buy each of these effects individually, but when you buy it as a package, you also get an additional bonus video that Max is sharing that talks about the history of virtual tricks and everything that goes into creating a really good virtual trick and how they all come together. And there's some really solid magic here. I know one of the things, if you watch the demos for these, you'll see some very familiar hands in those.
Yeah.
You'll see Nick Locapo's hands performing some of these effects, and it's because everything is done virtually, including the production of this.
Yeah. Yes.
so-
yes. Well, the funny thing that we
Yeah.
ran into when we were making the videos is
Yeah.
that there's actually no like in all of the clips that you'll see Max and the performers, one of the features and benefits to all of the tricks that he's teaching is that you don't need to see anything that's going on the spectator's end.
Yeah.
Almost, actually, just about everything here you could do over the phone.
Yeah.
If you wanted to. So there was no actual footage of people using cards or coins, so we had to do it. Anyway, the tricks on this are great. Now, not all of them are out yet.
Yeah.
Is that
No. So
correct?
the reason that this is out right now, or the reason this
It's
is in the top
just-
'20
yeah.
is Switch Doctor came out
Right.
just a few days ago. I think it was 3 days ago that Switch Doctor came out. It's a really interesting trick where there's cards with that are labeled and then objects, and the audience members are instructed to move them around, and they've got a ton of free choices, and you end up knowing exactly the one that they are holding in their hand, which is really nice. And there's a special kicker ending to it. Next week, in just 4 days, Rainbow Matrix is dropping, and Rainbow Matrix is my favorite of the group.
Oh.
Rainbow Matrix is a really, really interesting effect where you have a grid with numbers and then different colored felt tip markers. Your audience members makes all the decisions as to which rows and which columns you're marking out, and you end up adding up numbers that are of matching colors, and you end up at a specific total that you can predict. You can also use it for forcing. This is something that Max actually put out in the Prism series, so it's been around, but I don't think a lot of people, I think it either got overlooked or sort of like lost to the mist of time. But Rainbow Matrix is definitely going to be a big hit out of this series, I think.
Yeah, Switch Doctor for me was
Yep.
the big hit. That one that's already out. They're all great, and we should mention that the way that this is structured, you can buy it all for I think it's $50, and if you do, you'll get all 5 tricks. But then you'll also get an additional video where Max gives you the history of virtual magic.
It's a really great deal when
I mean,
you
you
get
can buy
them all
each
together.
one of them. I think they're, I don't know, $15 a piece or something. Or
Yeah,
but
yeah, and for $50 for all of them, you save a bunch of money and you get the bonus.
You should get 'em.
story. It's really good. It's
Yeah.
really good. Let's move on though to number 7. This is Jeremiah Zuo's Penguin Live Lecture. I have to say, I have not been excited for a lecture like this to come out in quite. I've not been this excited for a lecture. to come out in
Well,
quite some time.
we should say this isn't even out yet.
Yeah,
They're going to get a little peek here.
Yeah. So what we are going to show you, so Jeremiah Zuo is an amazing magician out of Chicago. He's an underground guy. The people who know him love him. He's a self-described magic fan. He considers himself a card guy, but the lecture that you're going to receive when you buy this is all coins. And Jeremiah has done some really special with coins. Now we're about to share a video with you guys. We will say this is a very rough video. We literally cut this footage together right beforehand because we wanted to share this with you guys. It's just a small snippet of what he is capable of
Yeah,
doing.
because the full thing hasn't even been edited. I think it doesn't even come out until like next Sunday.
Yeah, there's still a couple weeks away. So, Mr. Popa, would you please roll this brief clip from Jeremiah Zuo's Penguin Live Lecture?
Before I start revealing the secrets, I thought I would do a little bit of just pure coin magic, just for Dan. Dan doesn't like the coin magic as much, but I wanted to do the purest coin magic that you can do. And the purest coin magic that you can do is unaided sleight of hand with just a single coin. So I wanted to do just a little bit of unaided sleight of hand with just a single coin. Watch as the single coin apparently jumps from hand to hand. Hard to keep track of. And believe it or not, that takes place with just one coin. I use only one coin for this trick. This is not an extra coin. Well, it is an extra coin, but it's not part of the trick. This is just in case, like a good professional always, worst case scenario, in case I were to lose this coin or someone accidentally walked off with it. This is just an extra coin. It's like the coin's understudy. But I promise I use just the one coin, not to. Sorry. That's another family heirloom that belonged to my great aunt Timothy. Yes, this I keep it just for sentimental reasons. It has nothing to do with the trick. Just the one coin, the extra, and then the family heirloom for sentimental reasons. And honestly, I don't have a good excuse for that one. So I guess there's actually a 4-coin trick. I'm kidding. That would be silly. I promised you a 1-coin trick. I'm going to show you a 1-coin trick. If at any point it looks like I'm using more than 1 coin, pay no attention. It's just an illusion. I don't have a 3rd coin behind this ear or a 4th coin behind this ear. I don't have a 5th coin in my mouth. I don't have a pocket underneath my elbow where I keep a 6th, 7th, or an 8th coin. I promise you it's just one. Actually, that's a total lie. I don't even know a 1-coin trick. I'll show you a 4-coin trick. I'll show you a 4-coin trick.
That clip caught me off guard there. So you can see there's some insane coin magic going on here. That drop thing that he's doing is really one of his signatures in what he has really been able to advance in the coin magic. And I think you heard at the top of that clip, he mentions that Dan Harlan doesn't like coin magic, which is something we all kind of known. And I remember when Dan walked in, he lit up the moment he saw the coin magic that Jeremiah is doing because it's so different than anything that you're going to see. There's a really weird trick that he does where the premise is a bear and a rutabaga farmers, it's wild.
Right up Harlan's alley.
Yeah, but the entire lecture is just, you're going to find yourself playing with coins in new ways that you've never experienced before. I had him on the podcast, and I'm really excited for his podcast to come out because this guy has got some interesting concepts.
Yeah, I can't wait. I actually haven't seen any of it. That was the first look I've had at any of this stuff. I heard you guys talk about it, so I'm excited for that one to come out.
It's a really interesting lecture, not just the coin magic, but also just Jeremiah's entire demeanor, his approach towards magic, and the way he does everything is super interesting. And I really hope we get him back in soon to do a lecture on cards, because if this is the stuff he's doing with coins, I cannot imagine what he's doing with coins.
Right, he's like, I am not a coin magician. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
right?
and for those of you watching it, if it was a little quiet on the sound there, sorry about that, because literally we put this together to give you guys a taste like 5 minutes before we went live tonight. It's such a good lecture. I highly recommend. I think if you get it now, if you do the pre-order, you get a bit of a discount.
Yeah, you always get a discount on the pre-order, so it's always worth doing that, or just subscribe to Penguin Live. I gotta say, the lectures that have come out over the last
the Mark Calabrese one
6 weeks
was dynamite.
or so have been amazing.
Yeah.
Calabrese, Chris Carter, who am I missing?
Chris Korn.
Chris Korn, that's what I was thinking of.
We had Nicholas Lawrence last week.
Nicholas Lawrence, yep.
Oh, man, and it's a really good Nicholas Lawrence lecture too. Not that his lectures are ever hit and miss.
Or is that one even out yet?
No, it's not. Well, it is up. It's available for pre-order.
Okay.
But there's no demo yet. But man, Lawrence comes up with some really cool
yeah,
things that you can make at home.
There's definitely been a, we see all the lectures.
Yeah.
And
but there's been some really good ones.
I think it's just the new conditions that we're in have just kind of pushed some of these creators to bring some out of the box stuff that they might not have thought about bringing before, because they had to perform for a crowd or whatever. So I guess there's some strong stuff.
The other stuff I'll say about Jeremiah Zuo's lecture is there's really interesting copper, silver, brass routine on there. There's a really interesting Okido box routine that is well worth learning. And there's a bunch of different stuff where there's like 3-coin routines, 2-coin routines, 1-coin routines, and so you're going to learn a bunch of sleights as well. It's a really great download, and it's
not out yet, Eric. They can't get it.
It's not out yet, but I will also say I think a lot of people are going to look at this and go, that is knuckle busting, really difficult coin magic. And Jeremiah addresses that and tells you straight up, it's not. A lot of the stuff is really easy to do. All of it's based around just a couple of moves that are super good, but also really easy, because he describes himself as a lazy coin magician, and so he doesn't want to do anything that's going to be too difficult to do. So it's going to be, not only is it good and interesting and unusual coin magic, it's going to be within your skill set.
Well, moving on.
Yeah, let's
moving on to number 6. This is Banderaction. This one caused a stir. This is why we keep seeing rubber band stuff in the top 20. This is by Dr. Cyril Thomas, and he put out, this is like the rubber band mixtape that dropped a couple weeks ago here. This is just, there's nothing to say. Just watch this rubber band stuff.
These are real. These are not weird camera tricks. No. This is real stuff. And I will say, he reached out to me this week.
Yeah,
he saw us. He saw us mentioning and talking about him on the show. He is a real doctor.
Yes.
He is a real doctor. He's got a doctorate in psychology. I think he actually works in research psychology or therapeutic psychology or something like that. But he's a real doctor, and he is not Cyril Takayama, as you may have gotten from his.
Yes. I meant to send an email about that, because right now if you go on Penguin, his Magitar, which are, I realize that people don't know that's what we call them. We call these Magitars.
Yeah.
Magitars. So anyway, his Magitar on the site is Cyril, because however that works, it just picked it up. Anyway, but that's also why he doesn't have a new one, is because the system assumes that he already has one.
Yeah.
All right, so I keep forgetting I have to send an email out so that we can get Dr. Cyril his own Magitar. Play those rubber band tricks again there, Popa. Let's look at these things one more time. Because these things are not only just tricks that you can do on yourself, but you can see that's a spectator's hand right there.
Yeah.
Right. So everything that he's put together here are things that also can jump from your hands or the spectator's hands.
What's really crazy is not that it's jumping to their hand; it's that it jumps back. That's the wild part. That is, and this is Last week, this was the one I said I was going to buy and sit down and learn.
Did you watch it?
I haven't yet.
Oh, come on.
Well, so I got sort of locked up editing some things that are going to be coming out soon. I actually got locked up this week editing more Rubber Band Magic that's going to be coming out from Josh Birch. That's very exciting. But this is definitely on my list of things.
All you got to know is that it's been endorsed by all the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Rindfleisch, Harlan, Hansen Chen. They're all like, yep, the doctor is here. The doctor is in.
Yeah.
He's here to stay. He's doing good stuff. So they're all excited about this download. And I've watched it.
Yeah.
It's shot great. I learned a few tricks, right? Like, it's good. You're going to learn everything that you see on there. You can do it all. It's all pretty easy. And he teaches it. You'll learn it. That's what it is.
Shall we move on?
Let's move on.
I think we should move on to number 5. This is Virtual Rising by Adrian Lacroix. Lacroix?
You know, I'm not quite sure how he says it now that you're asking me.
I think that what we should do is actually find out from him, I think. Are we, Popa, are we close over there?
1 sec.
Okay, so this is very exciting. We're working on something. We've been trying to improve the production quality on the show, and part of that means having on special guests from all around the world. So this evening, we're actually going to be we're going to try and get Adrian on. Let's talk a little
We're
bit.
stepping up every time.
Yeah,
right? You
every
know,
time.
we started with Mr. Tango, who was already here.
Yes.
And then we went to Juan Tamariz, who's just a little bit higher than Mr.
Yeah.
Tango. And now we've gone
To the stratosphere.
way out of bounds
Yeah.
to the world's greatest 2020 virtual magician.
Yeah.
Right?
No rubber bands.
No rubber bands.
no
but
rubber
he
bands.
is the king of the magic marketplace when it comes
Hey, we've got
to
him right here.
virtual tricks. And oh my
Hey.
God, there he is.
There he is. Hey, Adrian, how's it going?
Everything fine here. How are you?
Oh, we're great. Thanks so much for joining us here on the show, man. We're so excited. Now, we know your trick, Virtual Rising, is in the top 20 this week. It's at number 5. But there's another trick that you performed that we actually asked you to come on and do here because people didn't believe it was real. This is Isolated?
Yes, it's isolated. It's on the top 20 also, I think.
Yeah, it's
now.
all right. Yeah, all of his tricks are always in the top 20. Just assume that
Changing all
Adrian
the
has a
time.
trick in the top 20 because he always does at this point.
Fair enough.
Yes. So Isolated is probably the one that, because you know how virtual tricks go, and Adrian, you can talk about this if you want to, but like there's a whole thing where like once you kind of see it, there's a problem sometimes where if you just play it back and you can kind of learn the secret. But that's not the case with Isolated.
Yes, the thing is mostly the tricks that are meant to be performed at distance relies on a mathematical principle or something like that, right? Is that what Nick is saying? When you watch it a lot of times back, maybe you can backtrack. But this is something a little bit different because it is more I think more fair in the way people can choose the things and the stuff. Maybe we can try it. I can try any of those 2 versions. We can do a version for everyone on their homes, or I can perform for you. Which one you prefer?
I think, Adrian, give us just 1 second. We're going to try and increase your volume here where we can hear you. I think. Is that
Probably
it?
should have it.
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Otherwise, you're just going to talk with me. So you recently just got to perform for David Copperfield and Chris Kenner and some other people, right? What was that like?
Plenty of people. Penn and Teller, also Chef McBride, a few big names, and it was for me pretty amazing because all started with a triumph and the things were in a path that I didn't.
Yeah. And now you're really stepping it up performing for me and Eric.
Yeah,
so,
this is, we're the premier online magic show. So can we see a performance of Isolated?
Yes. I was telling 2 things we can do. I can perform for you, or I can perform for you at the people at home. Which one you prefer?
Oh, perform for us or for the people on the chat? We should perform for the people on the chat.
No.
Yeah.
So just doing something visual so everyone can participate on their homes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try that way. So everyone on their homes, I want to remember 1 card, not this one, but 1 card from the inside, okay? And you too, guys. So I will go through the deck. I don't know if...
Yep.
It's in the...
Yeah, right there.
I don't know if you can remember 1 card.
Yes.
You have 1 in mind?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
Imagine everyone on homes. If you have 1 card in mind, imagine that you have it like this in your hand. And I want you to which card do you have in your mind, Nick?
It's a 7 of clubs.
7 of clubs. Imagine that you have that card and count to 3 and throw it here inside this glass, please.
Okay.
Ready?
1,
2,
2,
3.
3.
See how one card appears? And
That looks so
your 7 of
good.
clubs.
That's amazing. That's killer.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Your 7 of clubs.
Yeah.
What do we need to know about that? Anybody can do that trick, right?
I think so. Yes. If you want, we can try something else with.
Oh yeah. Let's do something else.
Yeah.
Let's see. I will make a prediction. I think I have my prediction here. Give me just 1 second. I will place the prediction inside the glass. Okay, can you see?
Okay.
And Eric,
Yes.
name any card from the deck that you want. Any card.
Any card? Okay. The 4 of hearts.
4 of hearts. You want to change your mind, or you want to keep with the 4?
Yeah, I want to change my mind.
Which one?
Queen of diamonds.
Queen of diamonds.
Yes.
That's the final decision.
Your final decision. Queen of diamonds.
Queen of diamonds. Perfect. Nick,
Yeah.
I said before that I have a prediction here inside the glass, but I lied to you.
Why? Why would you lie?
I have 52 predictions. I know,
okay.
you see, but I have 52 predictions. Okay, and there you can see one, right?
Yeah.
I was hearing a TED talk about a professor that he said that everything in life is ruled by luck. Okay, we don't want to see the things that way because we want to think or we want to believe that we can control the things that happen around us. But mostly the luck is present. So, Eric,
All right.
I want you to name. No, you name the card. Nick, I want you to name any number between 1 and 52.
All right, let's go.
Any number.
11.
11. Okay? So, if we count 11 cards and there is the Queen of Diamonds, we will be lucky, right?
Yep.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you can see on the 11th card, there is a card that does not match with the color of the others. I don't know if you can see because the camera is a little, you can see?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. There is a card that does not match with the others, right? And you name the Queen of Hearts.
No, diamonds.
The Queen of Diamonds.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe we were lucky today. Because if you say any other card, the red card wouldn't be in that position, right? And if you name any other value of the card, it will be even print because all the other cards.
Oh no.
No. Oh, of course they're all blank.
Of course they're all.
Are all blank.
Too much, man, my friends.
It was amazing. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. That was
Now,
incredible. I have no idea how that works.
Yeah, well, no. You got to buy the download, Eric.
Okay,
I mean, like,
well,
so is that card number? That's also on isolated. Is that right?
It's also on the project, and there are a few other ideas. I've been using some alternative handlings that you may don't know that I wanted to, but if you watch the tutorial, you can figure it out.
You'd understand. Well, I mean, if you're out there and you haven't gotten any of Adrian's virtual tricks yet, I mean, what have you been waiting for? Number one.
You got to check it out. I mean, what was it? You just had a trick on Penn and Teller. Penn and Teller performed your virtual triumph on their show.
The Triumph, yes. Also, Luis D'Amato performed it on TV.
It's really strong stuff. And I think one of the really nice things about these virtual tricks that you're doing is that even though there is some process, you have a really great way of disguising that so that if the magic happens in their hands, it doesn't feel like we've dealt a million piles of cards. And then some of the other stuff that you're doing is just like this. This is knockout stuff.
This is fabulous stuff right here. Incredible trick. Adrian, we love you
Thanks for inviting me.
coming on our
I'm
show.
honored to be here with you again.
Thanks so much for joining us. We hope we can have you back again soon.
Yes, and in person. Let's see when this race is over.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come up with a new trick.
All right, goodbye, Adrian. Thanks so much.
Bye, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Thank you.
That was solid.
You can tell he's done it a lot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you have any doubt about like,
It's really good
Like-
to see that one in particular perform live because there's only so much you can get from a demo.
yeah,
But then when you see it do that, I mean, that's a full-on trick. That's not edited. We don't.
Yeah,
It's clearly
demos
it's clearly not pre-recorded.
no, yes, clearly not. Demos of Zoom magic is hard to film. So like
Yeah.
really it's just not what we're accustomed to seeing. The
Excuse
way the magic's perform. I mean, it's
Yeah.
kind of the thing right now.
Sorry, I swallowed
Listen,
water down the
if
wrong
you
hole.
haven't done a trick on the internet, if you're one of the hobby magicians that's
Yeah.
out there, and I recommend it. I really have only done Adrian stuff. I've done a couple other. I did some Woody Aragon stuff and some
Yeah.
of Max's stuff. I should also mention Colin McLeod.
Oh yeah, the Colin
Worked
McLeod
with some
stuff is
Colin
really good.
McLeod stuff.
I'm just looking here in the chat, and we've got very cool, mind blown emoji. I mean, yeah, the chat's blowing up over this.
This is the guy
solid.
though.
Yeah.
Adrian really has put a lot of work and thought into these. He's a great magician outside of this. I mean, we met him a few years ago, but yeah.
Let's talk
All
a little
good.
bit about virtual rising because we've spent all this
sure,
time
sure.
talking about isolated, and you probably aren't aware of what virtual rising is. It's a really interesting effect where basically it's the rising card, but in the spectator's hands on the other side of a video chat.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, and that is one of those that like we can't really perform it for us here because like a full performance kind of just
You would understand what it is.
as magicians you would understand. For the layman, no.
No,
but think about that.
yeah.
A rising card thousands of miles away in your spectator's home, that's strong.
It's a really, really solid piece of magic. When I first learned it, I was surprised that I'd never come to this sooner. But what Adrian did was take something that I was like, oh man, I should have thought of this, and then turned it into a really nicely routined piece that's great for a virtual show.
Yeah, no, it's just anything. You're gonna learn something that you don't know
Yeah.
on Adrian's downloads because they're all just new style things. Watch Penn and Teller perform the Virtual Triumph. I don't think you would search Penn and Teller Virtual Triumph.
I think
But
I want to say
he did it to some TV show, right?
they did it.
Cast of something.
I want to say that they did it on their. If you're in the chat right now and you remember what it
Yeah.
is, I think it was on Penn and Teller. Try this at home, or Penn and Teller Try This at Home too.
And they did it for like the cast of Full House or something like that.
Yeah. It would not fool us. I think it was one of their specials that
Yeah.
they did right at the top of.
So you can see
lockdown.
that, but I also know I had asked him quick there. He did it for Copperfield and those guys recently. But he's the guy.
We're coming close to the end of the show here, so if you have any questions that you want me or Nick to answer about anything we've talked about on tonight's show, or really anything else at all, please drop it in the chat. We'd love to take some of your questions. But right now, let's move on to number 4. This is something I'm very excited about from Vinny Grosso. This is the Impromptu Magic project. Now, I'm super excited about this because Vinny actually sent me a pre-release copy of this, and he asked me for my thoughts, and he wanted a quote from me.
Huh.
And unfortunately, I was not able to get.
Unfortunately, it was supposed to go to a different Eric tape.
Yeah, it was supposed to go to a different Eric tape. Unfortunately, I watched it, but I wasn't able to get my quote to him in time before it came out. So all I can say is my quote for this now is, wow, this is a phenomenal project
really
that you
cool
are going to
project.
learn so much from. This is incredible. Let's, Popo, why don't you roll that clip real quick?
Well, so this is like, these are some of the guys that you'll see on the
Yeah.
project. There's Banderaction,
Mike
Caveney. Well, it's on the screen. I guess we don't have to read it, but
Yeah.
Matt King is on this.
It's
as
actually
well.
filmed in Matt King's house.
Yeah, and what they're doing is they're all together and they're kind of like teaching Vinny tricks.
This is such a cool idea. Chris Kenner
Right.
teaches something
They're
on
all
this.
teaching Vinny tricks and telling him the real work on it, and then he has to go out.
He has a dinner
and
party
perform.
that night.
Right.
So the thing that's really great about this is they sit around this couch, they all teach Vinny some impromptu magic tricks. Then Vinny goes to a dinner party that night, performs all of the tricks with a camera crew filming him. Then the next morning, they go back and they sit around and they all watch Vinny. Could you
Yeah,
imagine getting this group
Like
to watch
Mac,
you doing
yeah,
those
yeah,
tricks?
yeah.
And then they tear him apart.
Yeah.
They tear apart every
Yeah, they're
bit of
not
the
easy on
performance.
him.
No, not at all. And then they all riff on how how not only how he could improve, but how the trick itself could improve.
Sure.
This is
it's a
I'm
really
telling
cool
you,
project. There is a clip. There is a performance clip that I cut out.
I think actually, Pope. I think we have that on Impromptu too. But there's only I can't give this enough thumbs up and enough positive quotes because this is such a good project that I'm super excited about.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's good magic on here too.
They're all the tricks are, for the most part, like things that you might be familiar with. But that's what those guys do anyway.
Yeah.
Guys like Matt King and Kenner and Banderaction.
It's because the stuff that they're doing is some of the stuff that they got known for doing this stuff.
So you're going to learn just the real secrets of this stuff. So anyway,
Let's
I guess,
roll a clip.
Do we have the performance?
Yeah.
We do? Okay, yeah, roll it.
I noticed at this massive party, my psychic friend is in the next room over there. He has an amazing ability that we can demonstrate. To do that, we're going to need 3 objects. So, what looks good? Just pick out. What do you think?
Coin,
okay. What else?
Salt shaker.
Okay, that works good. 3 objects. Vinny, I'm going to let you do this. So we have a coin, a pepper shaker actually, and a knife. Which of these do you prefer? Which will be the object? This one. Okay. I'm whispering. I don't want our psychic friend to know which one, but this will be it. Okay. Just hold on to these.
Okay.
Okay. Don't hold them in any order. You can hold them however you like. I'm going to leave, and once I'm out of sight, out of mind, his name is Bill. You holler for Bill, he'll come in and amaze you. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going.
Bill?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
So one of you is thinking of one of these objects, right? Mm-hmm. I'm getting a very strong sense that somebody's got a sense of danger and therefore would pick a knife.
Yeah, that's
Is that right?
What?
Was
Yeah.
that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We can do it again.
How did you do? How did you do?
He did great.
You did it?
So good.
Go out.
I'll go out.
My psychic friend Bill. You come in? It's amazing. I mean, really.
Did you?
No. We're good. That's why we're going to do it again.
Yeah.
Bill's great.
Yeah, he is. And his Penguin live lecture is one of my underground favorites that I go back to a lot. But there was a lot to choose from. I just pulled one thing because I wanted to put in a trick that like maybe people hadn't seen.
Yeah.
Because Vinny does go out and perform all of them to real people. This is one that was being performed by Mike and Bill. But that's kind of the realm of effects that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But they're going to go deep dive on the inner workings of all this stuff. So really exciting project. It's coming out in 3 parts. I don't think all of them are out yet.
No, it is. He's chopping it up into parts because it's a massive project. It's super duper big.
Yeah, I didn't see the running time on the first one, but it is a lot in there. There's a lot in there. So should we move on?
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, we should definitely move on here. Sorry, I want to check that. Let's move on. I think
number 3.
Yeah, number 3.
Number 3 this week is a trick called Silence. You got to be quiet on this one. By Alexander Marsh. Alexander Marsh is a fantastic mentalist from England. And what this is, what you're learning here is something that Alexander put together from working the stages of the world, and he calls it the 6th sense ploy. And what it is a way to reveal a thought, a name, a number, anything, but to be able to do it in a visual manner, right? Because, and I was trying to think of the name of this show, Eric. He was on the touring show with Caleb.
He was on the Champions of Magic tour.
Champions of Magic tour.
I've seen him use some of these things in the Champions of Magic tour. And I think he is a very, very effective performer. And I will give him credit. My lady partner, she says that Alexander is the only mentalist she enjoys watching. It's with high praise.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, watching him perform was a real treat, really.
He wrecked the crowd here.
Yeah,
he's so good.
He's out here. So what is silence? And it's kind of hard to describe. What you're going to get in this download is multiple ways to apply his 6th sense ploy. And when I say multiple ways, it would be like, Eric, when I ask you, like, are you thinking of the color blue?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
That's amazing. But that's the typical, that's how that goes. Or maybe I would write it down, like, and what are you thinking of? Blue? And you turn around and you write blue. So what he's done is he's put together ways to reveal pieces of information like that, or something from a book test, or like what body part are you thinking of, or whatever, and come up with different ways that can expand the way that you get there, and the way that it appears visually on the stage using space. So a lot of what you're going to be learning here is like stagecraft. Yeah. So this isn't close-up stuff. I mean, there's probably some takeaways for close-up, but really, if you're a stage mentalist, you're going to want to look at this big time.
Alexander Marsh is a phenomenal mentalist, but more than that, he's a phenomenal teacher.
So here's what the thing is, like inspired by, and maybe this will get your gears turning about. It's from The Sixth Sense, the movie. At the very beginning.
Oh, okay.
What is his name? Die Hard.
Oh,
what the hell's his name?
Yeah.
Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis is telling the kid who doesn't talk at the time, if I say something that, if it's true, take a step forward. If I say something that's wrong, take a step backward. Take that frame and apply it to mentalism of like, is your card black? Maybe you're not stepping forward or backward, but he's figured out different ways to apply that type of framework, which just changes the way things are revealed.
Yeah.
You just have to watch it to understand. But your prerequisite should be you're in a mentalism and you maybe perform a little bit on stage.
Yeah. And I can't say it enough. Alexander Marsh is a phenomenal teacher. I mean, when you get something from him, you get a really well thought out something. You also know that he's done quite a bit.
Oh, this has all been worked out from the tour.
Yeah, and
this is stuff that has been beat to death on the road.
Watching him perform on the road is really interesting, especially because he's taking mentalism and doing it in giant stages. I mean, when I saw him here, he was in a 6,000 seat theater.
Yeah,
and it played to everybody.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So I don't know. Maybe I didn't explain it well enough. Alexander, if you're out there, don't enter my mind.
Yeah.
But I tried.
Let's move on to number 2 this week. Number 2, this is no surprise. This is Mental Die.
Mental Die, not dice.
Not dice. Mental Dice finally knocked out of the top 20.
Well, no, it was still in the top 20. I just didn't put it in there.
This is really interesting. So this is Avernetti again, and this builds on the Mental Dice that we all know about. That was it was a red die, a white die, and a blue die. This instead, what this is an addition to that. Now you can buy this as a standalone because it does come with a dice that is electronic, and your audience members can roll it, and then you will be secretly communicated the information as to what that die is. What's really interesting about this one, though, is it comes with a thumper, which is really, really cool. So instead of having to look at an LCD screen, you can have the number communicated to you through a tactile sense.
Yes.
And I believe it works with the original mental die.
It does. So you can, my understanding is you could take any one of the mental die. If you already have the mental dice kit, you could use the one die with the thumper. And we've talked about mental dice every week.
Yeah.
And every week I wanted it more and more. But I did realize the reason why I never pulled the trigger was because of that exact thing. Yeah. Was that
you had to look at the LCD screen. You couldn't have an alternative.
I wanted mental dice because I just wanted a die, not all 3 die, right? Not that there isn't a great routine you can do with all 3. There sure as hell is. And there's a whole other layer about the colors and everything there. Amazing. But I just needed one. And now there is. It comes in white and black, so you can choose that. And the thumper basically can work with any one of the red, white, or blue die, but this comes with one.
And it's my understanding that the way this was originally intended to be sold was that they were going to sell the thumper, and then they just sort of looked at it and went, well, for the same really great cost of the thumper, we can also include a die. And so if you own the original mental dice, you can get this, you get the thumper that works with it, but then you also have a 4th die that you can add to it.
I saw some people kind of like complaining about it, and I was like, well, it's really like, if you want it, it's really just like the price of a thumper. Yeah. Right? I mean, because if you think about the price of mental dice, and there's 3 die, and it's $300, and an LCD screen. Like you could kind of figure out the value that you're getting here.
But you're still getting wireless charging, which is really great. You're still getting reusable dice because in previous versions of this, you had to send the dice back.
Great.
It's a really fascinating thing. My real concern and I think if you watch this show enough and you watch us talk about mental dice, is I'm very curious as to what the packaging does when you open it.
I'm expecting big things. I
Yeah.
instantly clicked buy when I got the email and understood what it was. I was like, done. I want one. So I will have it here on the show next week.
Oh, I'm very excited. We get to find out exactly what the packaging does.
Yeah, and if it doesn't do anything, I know Mental Dice does something, but Mental Die, you know, smaller price point, maybe they don't put the bells and whistles in the box. I don't know.
We'll send out.
But that's it.
You want to move on to number
Should
one?
we do one more?
I think let's do one more.
All right, one more. One more, because it is the trick of the week. It's been up there for a good little bit of time, I think since early last week. This is Pinnacle by Russ Niedzwiecki. This is a rubber band, rubber 2020, ring and rubber band routine. And this is a crown jewel of rubber band magic right here. The ring penetrates the rubber band strand by strand in the most visual way imaginable. I mean, the visuals on this are incredible.
Yeah,
right?
so this is a re-release of something that came out, I think 15 years ago?
2003.
2003? Oh, okay. So, 17 years ago this
Getting
originally
old.
came out. Pinnacle, Russ came out with this quite some time ago, and it sort of kind of got lost in the mist of time. I remember when this originally came out, because I remember learning it the first time and being excited about it. It's a really interesting, it's totally impromptu. You can do this with a borrowed ring and a borrowed rubber band. There are certain rings that this does work better with, and Russ covers all of that in this particular download. We had him here in the studio to shoot it. It was really, really great.
No, there's nothing, I mean, it's just a perfect trick, really. What is it, $10?
Yeah.
$10 and you got a trick that you can do for the rest of your life. Just borrow a ring. If you all it needs is one rubber band. It's strand by strand, so phase one is the ring just penetrates the first strand. Phase two is it penetrates the second strand, and then it comes off the same way. It's 4 phases.
It's a really interesting take on sort of a ring and string, but using what can be borrowed objects, ordinary rubber band, ordinary ring. It's very pretty, it's very well thought out, and learning this from Russ, I think, is a real advantage, because you're learning this from someone who has been doing this for a million years. He's been doing this for 40 years.
I mean, longer than from when he put it out.
Yeah.
It's one of those, you should just know how to do it. The moves aren't very difficult.
Yeah.
It's a satisfying effect to practice. It's one of those, right? Where
it looks great in a mirror.
And the visuals are amazing. And it is a worker. This isn't something that, you just kind of play with. Russ worked like restaurants and stuff with this.
Yeah.
This is one of the things that he would bounce around with. So, downloads come out all the time. Tricks come out all the time.
Yeah.
This is really a piece of magic that he's done forever. So you're not just getting a trick of the week here. You are getting a polished piece that you will do.
I see someone here in the chat. I see Frank Sauce in the chat saying, I don't know if it's just me, I got this. I'm having a really hard time getting it down. Keep at it, Frank. I think one of the things that will help you with this is if you stretch your rubber bands a little bit. Because if you get those, if you're working with a brand new rubber band, some of the things that Russ is doing can be a little challenging. So stretch your rubber band and make sure that you're using like a nice Joe Rindfleisch rubber band. That can be another thing that will help you.
That would be the big thing.
Using a Joe Rindfleisch rubber band. And I think he even mentions that in this. But if you're using like a nice stretched out Joe Rindfleisch rubber band,
the rainbow bag bands. Just search Joe Rindfleisch anything and get it all. But no, the rubber bands that Joe put out are the gold standard of rubber band magic.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Popa?
Yeah. Well, we're about out of time, and I got one more question in the chat here. And Nick, maybe you want to save this for next week, but it's from Nate Myers. He says, Nick, can you quickly describe your presentation of Double Cross? I heard you tease it a couple months back, and I've been curious ever since. Sorry for the randomness. Do you want to talk about that, or maybe want to talk about Double Cross next week? Or
I mean, we could talk about Double Cross. Why not?
Yeah, let's talk about Double Cross. Then let's say what we're going to buy, and then let's get out of here.
We'll talk about the weirdest trick to do in 2020 right now.
Yeah.
Double Cross.
Yeah.
I talk about voodoo when I do Double Cross, and I got that from Magic Ballet.
Yep.
Magic Ballet, when he was doing Double Cross, was talking about voodoo. I'm like, oh, that. It gave me, for the first time, the ability to talk about something that I don't normally talk about, which is, hey, you ever been to New Orleans?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what they do down there, right? They drink and they're into that voodoo stuff. Are you into that? And just that question alone I never realized, like, asking somebody that, some of the emotions that would draw out of them. I'm just being funny and joking around, but, like, sometimes you get some people that take it really seriously. Or I'll say, "Are you into that stuff?" And they say, "Oh, no," right? And which allows me to immediately say, "Oh, good, me neither. Me neither." But, and then I'll still do the trick. But, it really kind of opened my eyes to, like, wow, I should play more with, like, some things that I'm not as familiar with, right?
In this particular presentation, and I've seen you do it a number of times, the question ask is really interesting because it's conspiratorial, and the conspiratorial nature of the question invites people to then want to experience the trick.
Yeah.
Even if they don't like voodoo, even if they're like, "Oh no, I don't mess with that," because I've actually seen that happen.
Do I look like the guy that's going to do voodoo, right?
No.
So...
No. You look like a guy who's been to New Orleans.
Yeah, sure. So from there, I tell a story about I met a spooky girl at the bar, and then I literally just kind of explain the trick. There's really no... I'm just very procedural at that point. It's nothing funny because, at some point, to me, you just want to strip away the presentation on double cross because the effect is so strong. I don't want to be trying to get in other things to make it meaningful at the end because the trick is so strong. But I do love putting it in that frame of like making people like slightly on edge or nervous at the beginning. And I didn't know you could do that just by asking somebody about voodoo.
And what's interesting too is that after you put them on edge, when they relax, you can then do some of the secret work, but they're so relaxed that it flies even further under the radar.
It's just, we're talking about double cross now. Like, I haven't even thought, how do you do double cross right now, right? Like, I mean, you can, I guess, because like, the effect is that you never touched them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, do you want to be touching people? No. Should you be touching people? No. But it's essentially a trick where you do touch them, but
they never remember.
You don't touch them, right? So, but are they more hyperactive to the thing right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I want to be the guy who goes out there and does the.
It's not a trick that I'd be doing if I was doing any sort of walk around. Right?
No, but when we're allowed to do walk around again, and when we're allowed to do tricks like double cross, it's going to come back.
My double cross is sitting right next to my sponge balls.
Yep.
Right. It's not on the shelf at the moment.
All right, it's that time, Trick. It's that time, Nick. What are you going to buy this week?
Oh, well, I already bought it. Bought the mental die.
Yep.
But I am probably going to buy Lucid Coin as well.
You're going to buy Lucid Coin
Most
as well?
likely, yeah.
Okay. I will say I'm going to buy Mirror Mirror. I really like Mirror Mirror. I already sort of know what it is, but I will spend the money on it. But the other thing that I think I'm going to buy is the Jeremiah Zuo.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was there to film it, but I'm definitely going to buy it because the coin tricks that he does and his approach to coin magic, there's some quirky tricks.
Well, you're going to have to wait a week to buy it.
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm gonna put it in my pre-order. Just like the people out there right now. I'm gonna get on there and pre-order. I'm gonna put that right in.
Well, yeah. No, that's sounds good to me.
All right. Well, that's it for this week. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Penguin Magic Top 20 Countdown Live here on Facebook. We're going to be trying to expand this show into some new stuff in the coming weeks, and you'll hear more about that. You'll have to tune in next week right here at 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm Eric Tate alongside Nick Locapo and Nick Popa. We'll see you next time.